What's up, YouTube family? T.O. here, Simplistic Fishing, back at you tonight with some more lake breakdowns. This time we're going to a lake that really it's on my bucket list for sure to go. I've never been there before, but it's definitely on my bucket list. For whatever reason, I just remember as a kid hearing about this lake and thinking, man, if I ever move to Texas or ever get to Texas, that's a lake that I want to fish. And I'm probably thinking Lake Fork, but yes, Lake Fork was one of them. But this lake was Lake Conroe, and I think it's because the Bassmaster Classics that were there, and then there were also some TV shows that were, published that had Lake Conroe in them. And every time I saw it, there were huge fish there. So I was super excited to get the chance to break this lake down and hopefully add this one, to my list of lakes that I've been able to go out and fish. I'm going to put this one on there. Hopefully, get down there this spring and check it out. But I have got some unbelievable stuff to show you guys out on this lake. Super happy to share it with you. Stick around. Let's see what I can find. First thing we always do when we go to do a lake breakdown is we've got to go out and look at the Texas Park and Wildlife's fishing page and see what it has to offer. So here you can see we've got Lake Conroe pulled up. The location, really, if you're trying to find Lake Conroe, it's going to be just east of Conroe, Texas. Conroe is just north of Houston, probably about an hour and a half or so, maybe 2 hours north of Houston, somewhere in there. But it's about a 2.5 hour drive or so from here in Dallas. So a little bit of a ways to go, but this lake has turned out some very epic fishes, some epic tournaments, and it looks super, super fun to fish. The pool elevation is 201 feet. The fluctuation is about 1 to 3 feet. I can see some stuff in a drought here with Google Earth, so we've got a lot of good stuff to be able to mark, all the creek channels and stuff like that. A lot of good underwater stuff to go find out. Normal clarity is slight to moderate stain, so it's probably pretty much like what we have around here, that brown color. As far as predominant fish, you've got largemouth bass, bluegill, channel catfish, and white and hybrid. You've also got lake records out here, so let's go take a look at that. Always like to see what the largemouth is. The largest bass caught out of this lake is 15.93 pounds. Wow. 27 inches in length. This thing was caught in 2009 on a crankbait. I bet that was a wild ride. All right, let's go ahead and move this back. Let's see what else it talks about here. It talks a little bit about where to find the bass, the different cover and stuff like that. But I just want to always point this out to you, just this little table. Largemouth bass fishing on this lake is excellent. Catfish is excellent. Hybrid's excellent. Bluegill's excellent. Crappie's the only one that's good. So this one really looks like a real good place to fish. And we got a downloadable file that shows us the Texas Park and Wildlife fish attractor, so that's even better. And here it talks a little bit about the tactics that you could use as well. So that's all the information on Lake Conroe. Let's jump over now and get into Google Earth, see what we can find. Here we go. Well, here we are in Google Earth, and what I want to do first off is really just show you Lake Conroe and show you how I set everything up in Google Earth. So I'm going to zoom back out here so you can kind of see everything. But over here on the left-hand side, you'll notice that I have everything kind of broken down into different folders. And these folders really change depending on what kind of lake I'm fishing and what type of cover and structure that I can find out there. But this is pretty much the category that I put everything in. So you'll notice here, if you just want to fish the offshore stuff or you want to look at it on Google Earth, you could just uncheck all those, and that's going to show you all the offshore hotspots that we found using web app Navionics and marking those on the contour lines as being primary hotspots for fishing. So we'll have some videos that cover that later, but that's all of the offshore hotspots. Now, we also have the Texas Park and Wildlife fish attractors. So these are all the fish attractor sites that they put out here on the lake. Those are primo spots to go bass fishing, and they're also primo spots, primo for crappie fishing. So you definitely want to check all those out. Now, in addition to that, I've also gone around the lake, kind of pulled the water back to get the best image and marked all the different areas where we can find rock, because bass love the rocks. So you definitely want to be fishing in those areas. So I've marked all of those. I've also marked all of the ramps. So every ramp on this lake we've been able to mark. And you're like, why did you mark every ramp? Ramps are a great pattern to run. So if you can get on a boat ramp pattern, you can really do some damage. And there are plenty of boat ramps here for you guys to be able to fish on. Another thing too that's really helpful is if you knew where all the ramps were, if you ever had any boat problems, you would at least know where the closest ramp was to get to. So that'd be very helpful. Also, the most important thing I think, and the coolest thing that we do, is channels and ditches. So when I do this, you're going to see I couldn't do all of the ditches because I can only do up to 50 tracks for hummingbirds. But on all of the channels, I was able to mark these for you. And what I mean by that is, let's say that we go up here to the very northern part of the lake. You'll see here, this is an image from 12 of 2021. And you'll just see a bunch of green squiggly lines. And you're like, what the heck is that? Those are the creek channels that are out there. Now, if I draw the water back, let's say to 2015, I'll come back maybe 24. There we go. 2 of 2015, you'll notice there's the creek channel. So I was able to find the creek channel and basically just draw a line, a track in that creek channel. It tells you exactly where that creek channel is. And as you know, if you've done any type of bass fishing, the creek channels are the places where you need to be, and you really need to follow them very closely. And of course, anytime they come up and touch the land, you want to fish that section of the water. So I've marked all the creek channels on this lake for you, and you'll have all those tracks there for you. So when you import it into your graph, or you go up there and you go to fish, you're going to know exactly where that creek channel is. No more scanning around, stuff like that. I've also got ponds out here. Ironically, I have a folder for ponds, but there's really only 2 ponds that I was able to find. One is right over here and one's over here to the left. And then we also have just cover. So this is just different types of cover that I found, whether it be laydowns or things that I didn't know, but it just looked unique in the water. I'd put out there, hey, check this. I've also got debris. So all of that stuff. So all of it together, when you combine it all together, it is just a really, really good layout of the entire lake, which you can see here. So let's go ahead and start this thing. What I want to do is I'm going to start down here on the left-hand side, down here by the dam. We're going to start down here. We're going to work our way up the west side, and then we'll come back down the right side. So I'm going to take off the offshore stuff. I'm going to take off the fish attractors. And what I'm going to do is before I do anything, I'm going to come up here to where one of these creek channels are, and I'm going to see what my best image is when the lake was drawing down the most. You can see here I'm in 2 of 2015. I'm going to draw that back to 4/11. That's going to give us probably our best image. That looks like a really, really good image. The lake is way drawn down. You can see where I've marked these ditches and creek channels and stuff like that. So let's start with that. And now let's move this over, all the way over, and let's get started. So let's go back down here by the dam. Now that we know the water's drawn down. The reason why I do that is because anytime you get down here on the southern part of the lakes, especially that's typically where your dams are, anytime you get on those part of the lakes, that's usually your deepest water. So it's typically kind of hard to tell how much the water is drawn down when you get on these southern parts. So I always like to go up to the northern part and draw it down to the best, and that tends to kind of be a good formula for me. So anyways, let's go ahead and start here right on the side of the dam. First thing we see is obviously a boat ramp here. This could be a pond. It looked like a pond, but I wasn't sure, so I didn't mark it as a pond, but it could be a little pond dam that's out there. As we pull up here and we move around the point, we've got more ramps. So we got a ramp here and a ramp there. And then if we zoom into this spot, we've got some rock that's over here. So a lot of sand and stuff like that, all kinds of sand right in here, but just right here, you got a little bit of rock off that point as well. So you definitely want to go check out that spot and see what you can find. Now moving over here, we got another ramp. There's a ditch back in here too. So when the water's up, you got to imagine when the water's up, it's up by the seawall, right? So we're seeing it drawn down a lot. There's another boat ramp there that I missed. But right here, you've got a little ditch that comes out. And these ditches can be magical spots. So don't ever overlook them, especially if the fish are pulling up shallow. This could be a really good spot to take a look at. All right, so as we move a little bit further down, we've also got some additional rock that's down here, just back here behind these little marinas. Got some more rock that's back here as well. And I don't know if you can get a boat in here or not. It doesn't look like you can, but you definitely have some really good rock right there. And maybe you can get a boat. It looks like a couple boathouses back there. Not sure, but definitely some rock right around the bottom of those pillars. Then as we move up, we've got some more ramps right here to take a look at. I didn't see too much in here. The water's drawn down pretty good. You got a little hump over here, but on the hump, I didn't see any rock or anything. Maybe just a little bit of rock, but it was hard to tell. It just didn't really look that juicy. So I didn't mark the hump. I mean, you could also look inside of these things because each one of these is almost like its own little pond dam where they've dug these things out. You've also got a drain that's way back here. So if we get way back in here, look, there's just nothing. There's just a lot of nothing, but then you got a pretty good drain right here. So if you could get some water coming here, I could see them being attracted to that area. Now, as we move further back out, finally get out here off the point, start seeing some rock out here as well. Rock right out here off the point in that area. There's a really good rocky point right here that you can see. And that's going to be, farther out in the water. Let's see, we're on 11 in 2001. When I pull that up to 2020, obviously you want to be careful with your boat coming across there. It's pretty shallow, but you've got some pretty good rocks that are a little bit farther out. So a lot of this stuff is farther out than what it looks like on the image that we're looking at from 2011. So let's go back to 2011 when the water was drawn down. Let's keep going. Again, this spot right here has got really good rock all around it. It's really shallow, but it's got some good rock points that come off the side of it. You've also got some additional rock that comes out here off of this point. So that looks really good as well. And then as we move further up, just not seeing too much. There's a little ditch there, but I don't know, nothing crazy. And I don't know if you guys can hear that. My dog is snoring again. It's like the second video in a row she's decided to start snoring. So moving down here, lots of docks and things like that. But again, didn't see any brush piles or anything to really point out to you. No rock, nothing really special about anything in that area until I got about right in here. And right in here, I found a little bit of rock that was right up against this little seawall. So you got some rock here. It kind of extends out here. You got a little more here and some more out in this area as well. So I could see maybe just in that little area, backing off the docks and maybe picking up some off those rocks. All right, so I'm going to zoom this back out, show you guys where I am. Came up from the dam, and we're coming up this side right here. So the next thing I found in this area, again, there's a swim area or something in here. They got it all blocked off, but there is some rock right around in this area, right there off the edge of that. There's a little bit of rock right in there, so you can go check that out. I don't know if I'd go that far back in that pocket just to fish that, so I'd probably pass on that. I've also got a boat ramp back in here, and then swinging around, just seeing a lot of dirt, a lot of nothing, right? Not even a lot of rock or anything, but there is some debris that was back in this spot. So as I move back further back in here, you can see there's something going on right in here. And as I zoom in a little bit further, you really start to see it. There's some debris and stuff all right in this area. So I'd say go check it out. It could be an old boat dock or something. Not sure what it is. Again, fish around the pillars. When you get in these little areas where these coves come back, there's always rock around the edges. So you could fish the rock just right in there, and the causeways there. Looks like there's some boat ramps back there that go into those storage sheds. I always thought that was cool. We don't have anything like that here in the Dallas area. Just being able to get your boat, grab it out of the storage shed, and drop it right in the water. That's pretty cool. All right, so I'm going to keep moving up. As we move up here, we've got a ramp that's up here. There's another ramp right in this area as well. The juice doesn't start for a while, so I hope I'm not boring you guys too much. We got another ramp right in here. And then over here in this spot, there's just a little bit of rock right up here on the bank line. But this point, basically from that top where you see my hand, that top right there, swinging all the way around, you got some really good shallow riprap that you could go fish around. The bass love that kind of stuff, especially in the springtime. And that's kind of a, I guess you consider that a main lake point. So definitely a good spot to look. Coming out here, we've also got a ramp there. Not a lot going on back in these things. If you look back in here, there's all these little holes. I don't know what the heck those holes are, but maybe some kind of beds. I'm not sure, but definitely not bass beds. All right, so then moving over here, get a little bit further up, we've got some rocks that are over here right along the seawall. Again, guys, this is going to be a lot of dock fishing when you're down here in this area because there's just not a lot of cover for them to relate to. You got a ramp down here. Finally getting back in here in this little flat. When you get in here, there's a little like creek channel that's been made right here, and you can see it. It swerves along, and it just kind of goes. That grass or whatever it is following that creek channel. So that may be a good place to look. That could be one of those little secret places where you know, they're back here spawning, it's really shallow and everything like that. And then, you know, maybe they come up, they're getting ready to spawn and it gets cold and they need to tuck somewhere. Well, they're going to tuck really close to those little ditches and those little creek channels and things like that that are in those flats. So definitely go check that out. Then as we move further up here, got some of the kind of the same thing, but nothing too crazy to mark for you. It looks like there may be a little creek channel here I didn't mark for you guys, but again, not seeing too much of a change, you know, from the contours of that creek channel. So it's almost like it's almost completely washed out. You've got another ditch that's back here though, and I really like these pockets. This one goes up, it faces north, it's shallow, and there's a little ditch that runs basically from there all the way down through here and really creates some pretty good contours there. So you could go check out that ditch and see if anything's related to it. And then as we move further out of this pocket, just a couple more spots in here where you've got some rock. So you got some, as you go into this big old marina back here, you've got some rock all along here. And you've also got rock right along in that area as well. So I'm going to back this back. And then here, these things are so wild. You can tell everything's been so man-made here. There's a little bit of rock right back in here, and you're like, well, that's not even in the water, but it is in the water. I promise you, when you bring the water up, the water's going to be up a lot higher than what you're seeing in this image. So that is some more rock. So let's go ahead and pull out of this thing. Let's keep going down. We've got some more laydowns that are over here. So this would be our first laydown we've seen. This laydown's here, and I kind of verified it. I moved the timing up, and there is a laydown there. There's also some rock right along this bank line too, just from here to here. You can see it right behind that laydown. So that could have some potential as well. I don't know how deep these little cutouts are that they've made, but they appear to have some pretty decent depth to them. As we move further back in here, not seeing too much until we get over here into this little point right here. We've got some riprap along that point right there. So that could have some possible potential. You've got a little bit of rock right in here too. Again, if you're down here, you're probably fishing docks for the most part. And then we've also got some more ramps that are in here as well. And as we move up from that ramp that's right there, we get a little bit further up. Don't see too much coming back in here. I didn't find any rocks or debris or laydowns or anything. You know, these dock owners don't even put brush piles around. It's crazy. But there is a little pond that's out here right off the edge of this point. So you could come off this point. You see you got some pretty decent cover that's going to be out here off this point as well. But there's a little depression that's just right here. So I went ahead and marked it for you guys. It looks like an old pond that's there. There's a little bit of debris around there too. So you can definitely go check out that point. That point looks like it could be good. Back in here, we've got some rock along with some ramps. So you can see these two little rock points that they've created around this boat ramp. And then you've got some more rock going further back in there. So some pretty decent stuff to fish around in regards to there. I'm telling you, if I was here, I'd probably be headed north, but that's just me and my style of fishing. But as we're here, we've also got some more rocks right around this point. I guess I shouldn't say that. I kind of like dock fishing as well. We've also got this over here, which I don't know what this is, but I want you guys to check it out because it's a little bit different than everything else. Looks like it could be some rock, possibly. I don't know if it's just this junk and it's just because it's scattered, but it looks like there's some rock amongst all that stuff. So maybe go out there and check it. That could be one of those little secret honey holes that you find, you stumble across. So then swinging around this point, we're going to get up here. We see some more rock around the edge of this point right here. Looking pretty good there. I like that one. That's probably the best looking rocky stuff that we've really seen. A lot of this other stuff is just really shallow riprap that's all man-made. We've also got a ramp over here. This rock is getting a little bit deeper. Now we're starting to get out in the water a little bit. So that's got some really good potential right in there. You've also got a ramp that's hidden back in here by this little house. If you got on that boat ramp pattern, you'd be fire on this lake because you have so many ramps. I mean, they're just ramps galore. As we get up in here, I didn't see too much, no rock, nothing crazy going on in that whole area until I got back up in here and really didn't see anything along this whole stretch. Saw a couple ramps. So I've got those ramps marked there. Got a couple more ramps in here. And then finally we get up here and we start to see what appears to be a pretty decent little creek channel. So I wanted you guys to check this right here because this looks interesting where it's cut out right here. And then you've got like this little high spot. So they could tuck in here, maybe possibly right around in this area. So check that out where I put check there. And then here's where we get into the creek channel. So you've got a really good creek channel that's coming back through here. This is more up my alley of stuff I like to fish. You've got some rock around here, around the entryway there. And then you've got pretty much a really good creek channel that runs all the way through this flat. So you could get back in here in this flat and really have a heyday, especially come spring and fall. So go check that out. There's a creek channel further here. The problem was I lost it. I lost it once it got to here, and then kind of started picking it up right in here. Maybe it goes down through here and then swings back. I think that's what it does, then swings back up. But this isn't nearly as defined as some of that stuff was back there. But you can see you've got definitely got a creek channel there that you can go fish around. I'd probably go a little bit further up where I started that track and fish from there. Now, as we move further over here on this side, there's a boat ramp that's way back in there. You can go check out if you were on that boat ramp pattern. And then this is probably the next thing that I saw that I thought looked really good. So these boats, obviously large boats as well, they've created this ditch out here off the edge of these points. So right here, you've got a ditch. Right here, you've got a ditch, and you've got another one here. And when the water's up, you can kind of see it. Let me see if I can draw it back a little bit. There's one of these years where you could really see it, and it threw me off because at first I didn't know. There it is right there. At first, this is what I saw. 2012 was the image that I was using. I was like, oh, there's some really good ditches right in there. You can see them. And then I realized, oh, I can actually draw it back a little bit further and see what the heck that is. And those are really good ditches. So those areas right in there could have some potential. As we move further up in here, we've got some more ditches that are up here too. So you can see here, pretty good ditch coming out of that little subdivision there. So pretty good ditch there. You got another decent one right in here. And then again, getting back up in this flat that's back here, you've got a creek channel running all the way right through the center of it. And those tracks are awesome because you can just set those tracks up with your boat and just follow them out there. So I don't know if I've put out that plug yet for our site yet, but hey, if you you want all these waypoints and you want to get them for your graphs, you can definitely go get those. Those are at simplisticfishing.com. Go out there, select your graph, and you're pretty much good to go. Select the lake and the graph, and that's all you got to do, and I'll hook you up. So we've got another creek channel coming through here down by this golf course. That could have some pretty good potential, especially come springtime. So go check that out. Moving down through here, we've got these ditches again that have really been dug out, man-made ditches, but really good little ditches that come up here on this shallow stuff and what might be some potential places for them to hide out in. Got another one that's right in here. You can see you've got just a couple of them marked. I marked the corners of them. So where those were dug out, I marked out those corners. Then I'm going to swing back here. As I swing back in here, let me show you guys where I'm at. Getting back towards the main lake. So I'm probably going to end this video. Let's end this video right here up at that creek channel, and then we'll start the next one from there. So as I swing back around that point, there is another creek channel that's up here as well. You can see it kind of running through here, and then I don't know what in the world happens back in here. Something's really dug out back in here, and you can see it's all crazy. So I would say go as far back there as you can. I don't know if you can get all the way back in there, but that looks like a really interesting place. Just that whole spot right in there. I have no idea what that is, but definitely intrigues me. I'd want to go back there and fish it because it has that really deep pocket right there in the back. Now this, you might not be able to get past that. And then I couldn't tell really if this is a real creek channel or if this is a man-made creek channel. So I stopped it right there, but I guess I could have probably just grabbed it and, just made it go all the way back and brought it back through here. Not much of a creek channel, but there is something there for you guys. So let's keep moving on. We got some more rock right here around this point. As we move further around this point, no rock, no riprap, no nothing around these docks, just junk. So I'm sure that they're going to relate to the docks because they've got nothing else to hide around. As we move further up here, didn't see too much until we got back in here. There's a little ditch back in here. You always want to check out these ditches and look at all the grass and stuff that's in here. I don't know if this is hydrilla or what it is, but definitely some cover that you could fish around. But nice little drain coming out right there. I love setting up on those drains. Sometimes that is just the best place to set up at. Now, as you come out here, you'll notice you've got this little underwater, I don't even know what it is, almost looks like a little dam, like a pond dam or something. But if you zoom into it, you'll notice that right here where they have those two buoys, it looks like they have two buoys there. You want to fish right around those buoys because that's right where, whatever that is that's under the water, that's right where that opening is. So they're probably going to be related to the sides of those. There's probably some rock or something like that down there around those spots. If you get back here in the marina, you can actually come back here, and I just wanted you guys to check this because this looks like a really good like hydrilla beds or whatever it is. I don't know. With tons of cover back here, but you've also got all this water runoff coming from these subdivisions that's running right into this area. So this spot right in here could have some potential. You've also got some other things I just wanted you to check. I couldn't tell if they were rock or debris or what they were, but check out those two spots right there. And we've got a boat ramp over here as well. None of those, I thought that was a storage facility. So that's just the marina. So they've got the boat ramp there from the marina. We get out here off the edge of the point. We haven't talked about debris much because we haven't really been able to find too much, but we do have some debris that's right out here off of this point. So I went ahead and marked that for you. Definitely a specific area, but you know how they are. They will load up in spots like that. As we get further up here, we've got the rock, the riprap and stuff around the dam. We've got some more boat ramps. We've got several of them, about 5 of them right here in this area. And then back here, I just want you guys to check these spots too, because they look very interesting. So almost like you've got these little humps that are out here. Again, just like we saw earlier, and it looks like they've got rock or debris on the top of them. And I believe when I move this to 2012, you can see the rock a little bit better. So right here, you can tell these are hard spots. So each one of those hard spots I marked for you guys. So definitely check those out. I don't know if you saw Jordan Lee fishing the Bassmaster, but he was around somewhere. I'm probably not here, but he was around some docks and he got stuck there. And basically he was just fishing a little bit off the dock and he had found this little hump out there and they were just loaded on there. He ended up winning the little Bassmaster Classic off that one spot, I believe. So really interesting stuff. So I know there's fish down here around these docks. You just got to go down and find them. So again, here's those ramps we talked about. As we move further up, and get to this creek channel where we're going to stop at, we've got a lay down that's back here. Way back in here, you'll see there's a little creek coming through here, and there's some lay downs back in here. If I pull the water up, I believe those lay downs are a little bit covered so you can see them. So you could come back in here and you could fish right around that bend and probably have some success back in there. Now we're getting back up into the part of the lake where I think I would probably spend the majority of my time just because I don't like being down there with all the people. We got a good boat ramp that's up here. Got some more rock that's around this little seawall that's right here in this area. So that looks cool. Got another lay down right there as well. And then as we move further back up here, got another boat ramp that's over here. And last but not least, we've got these creek channels. So right here, again, pretty decent little flat back in here, but you got a little ditch or a channel or something going on right here. So I marked that one for you guys. And then I also marked this one, which this one looks like the best one. This is probably where I would spend a ton of time. This is my kind of fishing. So I would get out here in this creek channel and basically just roam the whole day and just see what I could find, see what kind of wolf pack I could find, just do a lot of scanning. And if I couldn't scan, if there was too much grass or something like that, I would just go out there and just fish it. So definitely take advantage of these. These tracks are cool. You can see here where they've just marked that creek channel for you guys. So you can just follow the creek channel and see what you guys can find out there. So that's going to wrap us up for the video for today for Lake Conroe. When we come back on the next video, we'll start right here at this next little creek channel, and we'll work our way all the way up to the north and then all the way back down the east side as far as we can. Maybe take 1 or 2 more videos, and that'll cover us for the Google Earth stuff. Then we're going to switch over and talk about the web app Navionics side. So we're going to go out and talk about all those offshore hotspots that you guys saw earlier. We'll go down, we'll talk about them, we'll see what they are, and we'll actually look at them from the contour map. So guys, I hope this is helping you out. Make sure to go out and check out my site, simplisticfishing.com, if you want these waypoints. And until next time, hope you catch your PB. Take it easy.